Okay, so here I am on the internet. I'm having a good time. That's a lie. I never have a good time online. And I see that people are super duper mad over what seems to be an extra credits video. Now, I like the extra credits YouTube channel. Some misses, a lot of wins. Evil races or bad game design. Okay, that's the topic that I'm interested in. Let's go. We're reading the captions. Characterizing a whole species in your game as ugly, warlike, and benevolent. And we got like an orc over here. Gotcha. Ooh, I can see the issue people are taking with this extra credits video. I'm beginning to the information is pouring into my brain. Oh my god, you're just like an orc. We need to make sure orcs get proper representation in media. And the black guy says, "You're not helping me." Okay. Wow. Should have run that one by the editor. Now, I have the video here. We can watch it if we want to, but I know the arguments that are going to be made here, and I'm going to make them, I think, maybe not better than this video. I'm going to try to clarify this argument. All right? Not steel man it, not straw man it. I'm just going to try to clarify this, okay? Maybe we'll watch it at the end. You want to watch? Okay, all right. We'll take a peek. We'll take a little peek.
If you paid attention to the game's discourse on the internet during 2019 and 2020, you might have noticed a reoccurring argument about some species from fantasy media, specifically orcs. Now, not to worry, this episode isn't going to be just another member of the chorus talking about how if all orcs in a game are blindly evil, that it's racist. Instead, we want to discuss how that particular choice is simply bad game design.
Okay, most of this video isn't going to be relevant to the argument, so we need to chill out. We need to make our own argument, okay? Where's the point where the yikesy panel comes from? Let me see if I can find it. If we scroll up, oh, it's right at the beginning. Give me the beginning.
Thanks so much, Mendez. Much of the recent conversation on orcs points out that characterizing a whole species in your game as ugly, warlike, and malevolent might be
malevolent, not benevolent. That makes more sense.
Harmful to real-world groups, regularly mischaracterized as ugly, warlike, and malevolent. However, this video isn't that. Though if you want more on that...
Hey, this video isn't even that, okay? This video isn't even that. So let's talk for a second, okay? I'm going to hit you with some deep info on 2 quick points, all right? First of all, I play Dungeons and Dragons. I like video games. I'm invested in the narrative process of creating other worlds, okay? For story or for game purposes, all right? So I like that. And for the purposes of those types of stories, generally speaking, I think it's really, really lazy writing to just make a race evil. Okay? I just, as a general rule, I think it's pretty lazy. And I'm not talking about some like broad ideological, like I'm angered by it. I mean, just like in terms of game design, it limits potential space for design. In Dungeons and Dragons, for example, you know, you have like the chaotic evil and then you have the lawful good. You all know how it goes. And I mean, it's fine, but generally speaking, if you have a villain in a story, if the villain's motivation is I am evil because I'm genetically evil, okay, yeah, cool. That's great. Good storytelling. I think, generally speaking, it's more satisfying when villains are evil for some kind of personal or, like, story-motivated reason. I mean, can you imagine if, like, there was some narrative mystery about this villain who's been pulling the strings behind the villain, you know, and you finally meet him, he's like, I'm just evil. Like, Avatar: The Last Airbender. We've all seen Avatar: The Last Airbender. We can do a couple of examples. Who here, let's be real here, who here really cares about Ozai's motivations as a villain? Because Fire Lord Ozai was unironically just, I'm evil. I mean, let's be real. Now, who does everyone remember? You all know her name. Come on, throw it out. You all know the villain who everyone remembers from that show. Yep, it's Azula. Because Azula had an interesting personality. Her villainous personality was developed on. It was characterized. Everybody loves Azula. Not because she's a good person. She's a miserable piece of shit. Everyone loves Azula because they did such a great job, you know, developing how hateful of a person she was. Ozai, on the other hand, really was just bad because he's bad. No other characterization was given there, really. Weren't his motivations like Hitler's that mimics real life? Not really, no. Because he doesn't even have this broader ideology. Ozai was just, I like the Fire Nation, everyone else can die. But there wasn't even like some underlying I don't know, grandiose narrative, no historical tie or parallel. Which was, I don't know, a little disappointing. He's like just a megalomaniac. Now, I think that most people there would agree. Okay, guys, I get it. If you strain definitions hard enough, you can find some motivation. The point's already been made, and you know it. Everyone remembers Azula. Nobody remembers Ozai. Chill. So I think it's generally better to expand upon reasons why individuals are evil. Now, you can have races as a whole that are evil, but if you're going to do that, I just like it when it's more for like a sociological reason, because then you can have deviations, you know? For example, Drow, okay? Yeah, Drow, for example, in Dungeons and Dragons, they're dark elves. They're dark skinned, they live in the Underdark and beneath the earth, and they are bad. That is true, they're bad. They worship an evil spider god, okay? But if you actually read about them or, I don't know, incorporate them into a campaign, they're not like genetically evil at all, really. They just have a matriarchal militaristic society that values a lot of really bad things. But there are good individuals within those societies. And yeah, and there are drow who would be good if they weren't raised in the context of that culture. Yuan-ti, the Naga, the snake people, are another example. They worship an evil god of like destruction, but beyond that, and the cult that they brought up into, they're fine people. There's nothing wrong with them inherently. Um, Even Illithid. You all know Illithid, right? Illithid? 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 Illithid, I think. I think you stressed the second. Everyone loves Illithid, okay? You know why? Because they look cool as hell. Everybody likes them, okay? Look at that. We got some Cthulhu shit going on. Everyone likes it. Mind Flayers, Illithid, whatever. They look great, okay? Everyone loves them. And they're pretty bad. They're pretty bad. But I feel like in this case, their evil is motivated in not just by like a love of evil, but rather like a completely separate morality system influenced by their time. Oh god, we're getting into the weeds here. Influenced in their time off of the material plane back when they inhabited the far realm. The point, there's just more to it. I just don't like it when things are evil because they're evil. Okay, so that's a general rule. Great. Okay, cool. But that's not the argument that I really want to talk about. Okay, just stop. Okay, it's just as a general rule, they eat brains, Vosh. Yeah, it's their food, and they're enslaved by a hive mind. It's actually really sad. Illithid are like psionic beings that eat the brains of other creatures, and they're all subservient to a hive mind of like essentially graduated Illithid. And when Illithid die, they're fed to the hive mind, and all of them believe they're going to become part of the hive mind, but only an extreme select few of them do. All Illithid die believing they're about to ascend to a higher form, of which almost none of them do. So they all think they're essentially being thrown into like a higher form afterlife, but nope. Well, except for the very special ones, the very good boys, the big brains, you know. But that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the argument that this extra credits video isn't talking about. And wow, look at that like-dislike ratio. I want to talk about this argument. The whole, are fantasy races racist argument. This is what I want to talk about. Okay? Now, I want you to follow me on a journey. Okay? Do you think you can do that? Okay? Here. I'm going to do something new. World map. I'm going to find a picture on Google Maps. Maybe we can get like medieval. Let's get like a medieval world map. Maybe so it feels a little, yeah, there we go. There we go. This feels nice. Okay. We're going to save that picture, and then we're going to open it in your preferred multimedia digital editing software program. And we're going to take a look at this. Look at this. It's a medieval map. See? So it's totally inaccurate to the real world. Get it? And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about world... That's too big. We're going to talk about world of Warcraft. I know, but follow with me here, okay? I beg of you. Follow through with me here. Bro, that's like from 1750. That's okay. That's exactly what it needs to be. World of Warcraft, I spent a lot of time with that game, okay? I have. I was pretty good at it, too. Pretty good at that Mythic Raid and was bopping people, Shaman Resto. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, World of Warcraft is basically, this analogy is even better with Lord of the Rings. No, it's not. Also, shut up, or I'll ban all of you. World of Warcraft is a fantasy story that has a lot of fantasy races in it. And what I want to do is I want to see if we can derive any real-world explanations or any real-world inspirations for the people represented in the game. Because when you construct a fantasy world, everybody is very much constrained by the cultural expectations that they've sort of embraced in society. Everybody is limited by what they know about and what associations they've sort of arrived at related to what people are like in the real world. Okay? So I want to start with humans. Okay? In Warcraft, humans, the human race, is basically an XP of Western European cartoonishness. Okay? This is what Stormwind, the capital of the humans, looks like. It's a cartoon, but it looks like what you would imagine a child drawing like a Western European castle of, you know? If you listen to the voice lines for humans, they all sound vaguely British American. Back in Warcraft 3, more broadly in World of Warcraft, they sound more American. And most of the characters, basically all of the characters, are white. Does that make sense? Especially in Warcraft 3, I mean, back in the beginning, like all of the humans are white. And in World of Warcraft, it's still like all of the humans. Now, you can play as a black human if you want to. There are more non-white characters now, but the vast majority of them are white. Let's be real. So, where do humans come from? Humans come from Western Europe. That's what they're inspired by in their lore, in their language, in their aesthetics, in the weapons and armor that they use. The inspiration is pretty clearly derived from there, Western Europe. Now, trolls are a fantasy race in Warcraft. Let's see what they sound like.
You be careful, man. Be seeing ya. Stay away from the voodoo. Spirits be with you, man. Greetings, man. What you want? What be on your mind?
They're Jamaican. They practice essentially voodoo. They worship Loa, which is from the actual religion, voodoo. They are. You can Google more if you want. We need to be brief here for the sake of covering all of this. So where do trolls come from? Well, you can go Haiti, Jamaica. Later, New Orleans is more of a modern influence to that kind of thing. But that general part of the world. Okay, so let's go even further. If you take a look at the Zandalari trolls, which is a different group of trolls in World of Warcraft, you can see, do you see any, say, inspirations for this type of architecture? Any associations you can think of? Anything this looks like? Is there a part of the world? Looks Aztec, doesn't it? In the lore of World of Warcraft, trolls are like one of the primordial races, so they're basically all over the place. There are different tribes of them with different sort of, historical and cultural implications, but these are basically Mesoamerican trolls. So where do another tribe of trolls come from? They come from here. Well, no, we can be a little broad. Let's go there, okay? A big loop, all right? Now, what about the Tauren? The Tauren in World of Warcraft are, and I don't think anyone can argue with me on this one, Native American. Okay? They are huge, muscular cow people. They wield war totems as weapons. They put feather crowns on their heads. They use medallions and battle paint. They are highly shamanistic and spiritual. They are undeniably influenced by Native Americans. And Tauren are fantastic, by the way. Fantastic. So let's just... Okay? That's the Tauren. Now, what about the Pandaren? No points for guessing this one correctly, by the way. You know what? I don't even need to include their architecture. What does this look like to you? Just throw a guess out there. Pandaren. We're talking pandas, rolling hills behind them, bamboo, cherry blossoms, great walls. It's China. I mean, for God's sake, look at their architecture. I don't... I mean, now, there are elements of the Pandaren groups that are sort of pulled from other East Asian cultures, but I think the main one is definitely China. I don't think you can really argue that. Though, again, they're... Yeah, so, hey, we got China marked on the map for us. That's super duper nice. You know? Thank you. And, you know what? Why not Draenei? Wow, Draenei. Now, this one's a little bit more contentious, and I don't know how well I can explain this because I don't remember the influences that necessarily led me to believe this. But the Draenei in World of Warcraft, kind of, to me, they come off like Romani. They're not in Classic. They come off to me as Romani. They're a group of, like, nomadic people with strong interconnected cultural ties that were exiled from a previous home. I remember reading something about this in the past about them. Let me see if I can... If I do Draenei Romani, can some associations be pulled up? If you're asking for, like, pictures to show it, you're not going to find it because they're big blue people with, like, hair tentacles, you know? I would call them, like, Russian Jews. Yeah, there are a lot of directions you can go. Let me listen to a voice line. Hold on. Wow, Draenei voice lines. Just give me a voice line, and I want to see if we can parse anything from that.
May your days be long and your hardships few. Remember the lessons of the past. Do not lose faith. Dionys Aka, remain vigilant. Blessings upon your family.
If I had to guess, I would say like Eastern Europe, Slavic, Romani, or Jewish. That's kind of the implication that I get from them. If you're wondering what they look like, by the way, they don't look like anything to my knowledge. They look like they're aliens. Yeah, they're big, got big foreheads, horns, tentacles. They're overrepresented in World of Warcraft porn. Okay, you can find plenty of art out there of them. Oh, listen to the female lines; they're more telling. Ooh, that's a good point. Why did I close the old one? Warcraft Draenei voice lines. I can type. Let's listen to the female ones.
May your day
Browse at your leisure.
Welcome. Browse at your leisure. I hope you find something useful. You wish to buy? Trade? May you find what you seek.
I think we get what's going on here. We get the influence, you know? We get the association. So I'm just going to, just for the sake of keeping the circles clean, I'm just going to kind of draw it out right here. See? There we go. It's kind of Romani influence a little bit there. We're just ballparking it. Influences can come from multiple places at once. It's just a feeling that I have. Now, we can go on this for a while. The Worgen, which are kind of like this Victorian, like, hello, governor, top hat, vest wearing, like, English thing, are very specifically English. They're very explicitly some kind of English. You have the dwarves are always Scottish. I don't know why dwarves are always Scottish. I genuinely don't know. Yeah, now it looks like a nipple, so I'm just going to remove the Worgen thing there. Yeah. So, okay, we have some polls here. Now, by the way, that's not Scotland. Yeah, sorry, Scotland's here. There we go. I was just circling. Anyway, so we have a couple of cultural influences here that we can point to. Now, you'll notice I haven't talked about orcs just yet, and there's a reason for that. Now, just off the bat, I want to say, I don't think there's anything wrong with making fantasy creatures influenced by other cultures in the real world. I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that. The thing is, I don't think any one human mind is rich enough to encompass not only the totality of human culture, but also the potential for other cultures in their entirety without ever mixing the two. I don't necessarily think that's true. Oh, people are bringing up goblins, by the way. I'll actually give some praise to World of Warcraft. I don't actually think their goblins are anti-Semitic, really. They're, like, wealth-obsessed people, and, like, that is true, and they do have long noses, but nothing about their culture or their appearance or their anything, really, comes off as Semitic in nature to me. Also, the main thing that goblins are known for is being, like, rough and tumble gangsters who are like kind of stupid smart and build explosives. That's what they're mostly known for in like this, for example. When I see this is what I think of when I think of like a Warcraft goblin. This to me doesn't seem anti-Semitic, really. They just seem to me like lunatic ANCAPs who like building explosives. That's mostly the vibe that I get from them, you know? Yeah, they're Americans. That's what they are. They're Americans, okay? They're stupid smart. They love blowing shit up. They do love commerce. They're basically all ANCAPs. Yeah, and they're fucking lunatics. They're Americans. There we go. Okay, finally, some representation for my people, okay? So I just want to say, I don't really think of the goblins in World of Warcraft being anti-Semitic that much. So, before we talk about orcs, let's talk about this. Now, all of the XBs, or cultural associations that I've explained, have been pretty direct. The Aztecs pretty clearly directly inspired the Zandalari trolls. Jamaicans pretty clearly inspired the Darkspear trolls, which are the ones we looked at first. Native Americans pretty clearly inspired the Tauren. Western Europe in general pretty clearly inspired humans in this game. I defend the association between like Romani and Draenei. And then finally, I don't know how more direct you can get than Pandaren and China. I think that's pretty on the nose. So, with all of that being said, do you think it's interesting that we can point onto this map with those associations in mind and say this? These are where the Pandaren are from. These are where the Tauren are from. These are where the trolls are from. And over here, this is where humans are from. That in the creation of a fantasy world, when we choose to represent humanity with all of its diverse cultures and peoples, and we represent it only in a narrow slice, and it's basically mostly, not entirely, but pretty much entirely, a Western European slice, the implication there is that A, this is humanity. This is the real humanity. That's kind of the implication that's being put about here. It's the default race. It's the starting point. It's the norm. And additionally, other races are kinda, other. They're different from us. Real different. Not, abstract social concept different. I mean, real different. Like Tauren are cow people. Pandaren are panda people. They're different. Do you understand how some people might be concerned about this? Now, that's not to say, and I cannot make this any clearer, that it's racist to represent cultures in this way, because I don't think that. I do not believe that. And by the way, I run a D&D campaign, and my Yuan-Ti are pretty clearly designated as East Asian, okay? So if they're on the hook for this, I am too. I'm implicating myself in this. Though admittedly, in the campaign that I run, humans are broadly represented from a larger swath of human cultures. So you understand what I'm saying here. So what are orcs? Okay? What are orcs? What are they? Well, they're different in every piece of fantasy that represents them. In Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, I'm pretty sure, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, did Tolkien not explicitly say that they were inspired by the Mongols? Is that not... Did he not say that, or am I misremembering that? No, he did not? Let me double check. Hold on. Tolkien, Orcs, Mongols. Let me see. In a private letter, listen to this, Tolkien described orcs as squat, broad, flat-nosed, sallow-skinned, with wide mouths and slant eyes. In fact, degraded and repulsive versions to the least lovely Mongol types. Okay, well, that wraps that up. No need to linger on that point. Feel like that one was concisely made. There we go. Why it gotta be like this? Sometimes it gotta be like this. Okay. Now, in the Lord of the Rings, you have humans, elves, orcs, and the elves are all light-skinned. The humans are all light-skinned. Except, wait, there is a group of dark-skinned humans. And they show up in the third movie. Haven't read the books, fuck you. And they're on the side of Sauron. Which is kind of weird, right? Like, here's Lord of the Rings. You know, we've got humans, okay? The white humans are the ones up in Minas Tirith, and they're good, and the light shines behind them whenever they give heroic speeches on the battlefield. We have dark-skinned humans. They allied with Satan. They allied with Satan. We're not going to talk about that. They did. You know, they're that's where they come in, you know? Remember the big elephants in the third in the third movie? Remember? They were being piloted by humans, by men, not by orcs. Remember? Oh, the elephants. Sorry, the big ones. The big elephants. The elephants, yeah. So these associations and problems go back a while. The humans were called the Haradrim. Gotcha, for Lord of the Rings. Gotcha. Well, light skin, dark skin. I mean, we know what we're representing here. So, in World of Warcraft, orcs are... I'm going to describe the lore, okay? Orcs were a strong, but generally peaceful, tribal shamanistic culture that lived on a different planet called Draenor. They were cool. They liked working with the elements. They got along, you know. They would fight from time to time, but they were honorable people, fundamentally honorable people. And then their planet got basically invaded by a demon army. They were corrupted by being tricked into drinking demon blood, and they became unwitting servants of demons. They became slaves, essentially. And then as a slave army, they built a portal, and they used it to invade... what's the name of World of Warcraft's planet? Azeroth? Azeroth. They invaded Azeroth. And the first two Warcraft games are humans and orcs fighting against each other. It was in the third Warcraft game that they really began to expand on the orcs' backstory, made it clear that not only A, were they taken advantage of, but B, humans are treating them like shit too. I mean, humans had Thrall, who was a major orc character for like 20 years afterwards, in a slave camp that he had to break his way out of. So it's all expanded, you know. And what was previously a just evil because they're evil race became a evil by circumstance race, and it improved the story significantly. In Warcraft 1 and Warcraft 2, there are hints, but for the most part, orcs are just like bad. They're just like angry, you know? Whereas in Warcraft 3 and onward, there's a lot more nuance to that. And in World of Warcraft, you know, the orcs found their new capital. They tried to get away from the humans and build their own world. They found the Horde, you know. They try to do their own thing. And a lot of really interesting stuff goes on from there. Like, for example, Garrosh. Garrosh Hellscream is Hitler in World of Warcraft, unironically. I still can't believe they did it, but essentially what happened is the orcs were sort of trying to find their own way, not get muddled in the affairs of other races that were antagonistic towards them. And then you got this guy, Garrosh, okay, son of Grom. Grom was a particularly angry orc. Garrosh got real, let's say, identitarian, kicked all of the non-orc races out of Orgrimmar, the capital of his people, started developing a war machine, and began to utilize the undead powers of dead gods to attempt to take over the world. So, yeah, Garrosh was a fascist, an actual explicit fascist. And the way they present him in this children's game, World of Warcraft, makes him look like one, too. With racial exclusion, with old mythological stories about the origins of the orcs and how they should return to it. He's pretty clearly just a Hitler, you know? Yeah, he was even appointed instead of elected, just like Hitler was. Wait, Vosh, isn't the villain being a fascist a good thing? I'm just talking about the complexity of the story. Not to say, by the way, that World of Warcraft writing is good. No, I'm just saying it's better than orcs being like genetically evil. So let's take a look at a World of Warcraft orc. Now, this part might be a bit explicit for you people, but we're all adults here. We're gonna talk about this, and I want mods to nuke Pepe in chat. Okay, we're gonna nuke Pepe right off the bat. Okay, let's get a good shot here. Here's Grom. All right, here is an orc. Specifically, this is Grom Hellscream. I'm pretty sure this is from the cover art of Warcraft 3. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that is what we are currently looking at. Is everyone on board so far? Yes, that's Grom. Okay, good. I'm glad I remember the cover art. Is this Thrall? No, that's not Thrall. Thrall never looks this angry. This is Grom. Anyway, so to be totally clear, all right? Oh, this is Thrall? Wait, is this really Thrall? Hold on. Grom Hellscream. Did they just make Grom less angry? Or, sorry, did they make Thrall less angry with time? Am I a cuck? Oh, I think... Wait, no. No, Thrall has a beard. Fuck you, people. Thrall has a beard. Eat shit. It's Grom. Not at first. Shut up! We're continuing. Now, anyway. Somebody designed this character. Somebody designed the way that orcs look in Lord of the Rings. Somebody designed the way that orcs look in World of Warcraft. Okay? Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make an assumption. You can assume that this assumption is derived in some part from a bias on my end, but I think that most reasonable people would agree. Orcs are not drawn to look European. Can we agree with that? Whatever influences you may think orcs have in their design, they are not drawn to look European. They're not quite drawn to look human either. Here, let's use an in-game model, because I think this is more representative of like a generic orc male face. I mean, obviously this isn't a human face right off the bat. But if I had to take a wild gander, this face right here, does it look closer to a racist depiction of a white person or a racist depiction of a black person? Just, again, we're ballparking here. But if we had to make this a binary, if we had to take a guess, now I would imagine that, especially considering the associations that people formed back when orcs were initially sort of conceived, I would imagine it leans more towards the latter. And the reason for that is because, as we saw with our fantasy world diorama here, we tend to otherize other cultures by making them literally other races. We tend to otherize them in the sense that Western Europeans, that's humanity. Now, sorry, Vasha doesn't look black at all. I didn't say it looked black. I said it looked like a racist character. Wait, sorry. As somebody who's spent quite a bit of time on 4chan, I promise you, there are Nazi artists who draw black people about like that. Chat, we're on the cusp of banning about 50 people here, okay? Because I know the bad faith interpretation of my argument here is Vosh is saying that black people look like orcs, which is exactly the kind of 40 IQ dipshit interpretation that I would expect a bad faith actor to engage in. The real argument that we could make instead is that people are influenced by a pre-existing understanding of which facial characteristics are in-group and which ones are out-group, okay? So, generally speaking, monstrous races in fantasy have wide noses, not keen noses. Have you ever noticed that? That tends to be the case. That's not just orcs, by the way. That's a wide trend. There are reasons for that. Also in the representation of hairstyles, or in the types of clothing or architecture implemented, or in the jewelry used. The types of jewelry that orcs wear, for example, has a lot of bone in it. I don't think it takes like a brain genius to understand that there may have been some types of influences here. Now, that does not mean, let me be perfectly clear, that some artist sat down and thought, orcs are black, and then like started drawing orcs, okay? But when we're talking about a series which is already rooted in, let's say, murky otherization of other racial groups, where you have a shamanistic and tribal, basically noble savage group that likes bone jewelry and is portrayed with nose rings, wide flat noses, and like broad lips and jaws. I don't think it takes, like, again, a huge big brain genius to understand this may have been influenced by some preconceptions about which characteristics are in group and which ones are out group. Does that make sense? I feel like that should be very, very easily understood. Does anyone here not understand that? Is there an example of fantasy races being done in a based way? I don't know about any specific series, but anytime lizards are in a fantasy series, that's good. Anytime lizards, it's anytime there are lizards, that's good. That just makes it better. Elder Scrolls did okay. Wait, no, didn't Elder Scrolls, don't they have the Khajiit, which are literally just like Romani people or whatever? Is that, yeah. I don't know if the Elder Scrolls are the best. You know what is good? Come on. The game, it's like Baldur's Gate. Come on. The team made Baldur's Gate 3. Come on. It's one of my favorite games. I'm just blanking right now. Divinity. Yeah. Divinity Original Sin 2. That one. Their lizards are perfecto. Great lizards. A lot of lizards in there, okay? Very good. Very, very good. Bosch, where do elves fit into this? Well, how are elves typically depicted? Elves, generally speaking, at least in Lord of the Rings, are depicted as a kind of ethereal, holier than thou, like greater. They're white. They're so white. They're blind. Look, they're blindingly white. I can't even look at. They're so white. They're incredible. They're coated double white. Okay, if the humans in Lord of the Rings are white, the elves are double white. Okay, they're like a whole other. Yeah, they're on a whole other tier. And elves are one of the other primordial races, aren't they? Or there's some association there. But in World of Warcraft, night elves are... I actually like night elves a lot. Night elves in World of Warcraft are like these, like, druidic, almost like, not feral, but they, like, really do not give a fuck about other groups. Like, hyper-isolationist assholes. Night elves, I think, in WoW are pretty okay. In at least it's a trope that I don't think derives from... They're not just hippie. They're like almost militaristic when it comes to defending their forests, you know? And blood elves are... What are blood elves even? Wait, unironically, guys, can somebody help me out? What are blood elves supposed to be? Just white? Vampire? I guess they look like vampires, but they're not vampires. Just hot? I think they're just supposed to be hot white people. I don't know. French people. No, they're not. No, they're not. No. We're not giving them that. We're not giving them France. We're not giving France them. Okay. So let's wrap this up, okay? We're gonna get some final points in here, okay? Let's do this. All right. First point. It is a common strategy to build fantasy races based off of cultural assumptions we make of existing groups of people, okay? In China, there are not literally... I don't understand how you guys were saying, like, you're saying orcs look like black people, when I said that the Pandaren are representative of Chinese people, and as I last checked, Chinese people don't look like pandas. So, fuck all of you, okay? Anyway, so Chinese people aren't literally pandas, Native Americans aren't literally 8-foot-tall cow people, and Mesoamericans aren't literally, what, 7-foot-tall lizard god worshipping people? Well, they did worship lizard gods, didn't they? Well, et cetera, et cetera. But We make associations, we form them, and you know what? I think that's great. Okay? I think that's great. What's the name of the Loa of Death? Bon Samedi? The Loa of Death, I think, in Jamaican culture. Bon Samedi. Bon Samedi? Bon Samedi is literally the name of a god of death in World of Warcraft. They just made him. He's just the Loa of Death. He's got a really cool cutscene too that I can't show because of copyright reasons. Yeah, Bon Samedi, Loa of Death, Great Spirit, Loa of Grapes, Keeper of Soul, Lord of Death, Loa of Kings. You know? Baron Samedi is the real world thing? Gotcha. That's the real world equivalent. Yeah, his voice is beautiful, by the way. Great XP. Anyway, WoW cutscenes are not copyrighted? Really? Wait, Zan, is that true? Do you actually know that? Because if that's the case, I'll show a section of that clip. Do you know that for sure? How do you know that? Wait, they can't copyright it because people play those games on live stream. It's part of a game. You're right. It's not just a video. Okay, it's such a good cutscene. Okay, chat, stay with me here, all right? Because it's some good stuff. So I'm about to show you an example of a very, very obvious, like, cultural, not ripoff, but like proxy done in a video game with racialized implications, and I don't have a problem with it, okay? I want to make it clear that I don't have anything wrong with this, like, on an inherent level. Mesoamerican, by the way. Shh, 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 shh. Shh, shh, shh.
Well, this is a surprise. You're looking pretty good, Your Majesty. So, why have you come to see me?
I need your aid.
He's so hot.
I see. You want to make a deal with me? Go on.
Become my Loa. Grant me the power to recover my kingdom, and I will elevate you above all Loa.
Yes, so you get your kingdom back. All very nice. But soon you'll tired of old Bon Samedi. You go back to the living Loa, the one who bring the rain, makes the crops grow, not wither and die. No. I need more than just your word.
If you do this for me, I will bind my bloodline to you.
Who succeed you will keep this bargain to serve me in life and in death.
Forever.
We got a deal.
Don't do it! No, you're gonna be a raid boss! Nice. Mistakes were made. I don't know if you could tell, but that Bon Samedi guy, a little capricious, a little evil. Can't take him seriously with that accent. What's wrong with the accent? The accent's great. He was a dungeon boss, wasn't he? I don't know. I didn't play Azeroth. I didn't play that expansion. I stopped playing in Legion. It's a sick accent. Anyway, the point that I'm getting at here is that there's nothing inherently wrong with that, okay? I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that. The other point that I want to make, and this point is equally important, is that just because there's nothing inherently wrong with doing this, does not mean that people can't take concerns with the ways in which it's done at times, okay? And I think that's what people who are concerned about orcs tend to do, okay? It's not about one-to-one representation. It's the fact that when we see fantasy media, it's usually like, here's humanity as represented by Western Europe, and then here's the rest of the world as represented by a cacophony of monsters, you know? Good monsters are bad, monstrous nonetheless. It's just, you know, it's just something to be conscientious about. That's it. Often all people are doing is asking for people to be conscientious of this. That's it. Just think about the possibility, because some invocations are more overtly problematic than others. I'm trying to think, what's a really, really bad example? I guess a bad example would be in Harry Potter. The goblins in Harry Potter are pretty bad. So, like, you have, not only do you have like the long-nosed greedy thing going on that you also have in World of Warcraft, but in Harry Potter they're also explicitly like these banking overlords, these like grimy, like greedy, yeah, like it's not just in World of Warcraft the goblins are like explodey like freaks, you know, but in World of Warcraft, yeah, we're we're being a little more explicit, a little too on the nose, you might say, if you were a fan of puns. Anyway, you get the joke, you get the idea. Everyone here gets the idea. Controversial segment, wrap up questions. Anyone got questions? Throw them at me. Any questions? Throw them at me. The Orcs being characters of Africans shows it even more. Yeah. I think that cinematic is probably copyright, though, because it's not an in-game cinematic. Why don't we just call them species instead of races? I think calling them, like, kind or kin would be cooler, personally, but... yes, I do. How can we improve this? It's already being improved. Just being conscientious of stuff like this is all it takes. How do you feel about D&D's racial traits? Some of them I'm fine with because they feel cultural. I don't like the whole orcs just have 2 less intelligence thing for reasons you can probably understand. I don't know. It's just weird to me. What is the conclusion of all of this? The conclusion of all of this is that issues like this are complicated, and I understand that not everyone cares, and that's totally okay, but it frustrates me when people who don't necessarily understand the arguments go, "You're saying orcs are black people? You're the racist." Like, that stuff is super, super dumb, super low IQ. Like no thoughts, head empty, like just a incredibly anti-intellectual interpretation of these arguments, you know? Nobody said that, Vosh. People absolutely say that. We went over a Twitter thread earlier where people are absolutely saying that, okay? Yes, 100%. Why did we compare every race to their culture but orcs to their face proportions? We did compare orc culture. They basically embody the noble savage trope along with the Taurens. Additionally, it's important to talk about the ways in which designs are representative or XPs of associations that people might have, okay? The reason we talked about that specifically is because orcs, of all of the races we talked about, with the exception of the Draenei, are probably the closest to human facial structure. Tauren are cows. Trolls have wildly disproportionate facial structures compared to humans. Pandaras are pandan. But the fact that orcs are so consistently represented in a specific set of ways with a specific set of facial characteristics across media, including media where the authors of that media has explicitly described their work as being inspired by Mongolians, I don't think it's... I think that there's an association there that can be made. Something at least worth thinking about. The Star of David is literally on the bank floor in the Harry Potter movies? That can't be true. What? Is that true? No, that can't be true. There's no way. That's too much. Oh no! Is that true? Wait, real? No way. That's 6-pointed. Oh my god. Okay, this could have been an accident. This could have been a set designer just making a mistake, but wow. It's not fake. No, there are a million other screenshots of this. That is incredible. Yeah, look. Yeah, it's definitely not fake. Well, that's funny. It's not good. It's not good. But I doubt it's not like J.K. Rowling had any control over the set design. Um, in the movies, I don't think so. I don't. Oh God, they were all working together on it. You know, there's like J.K. Rowling was like, no, no, no. I cede creative control over the movies. However, you're gonna need to put the Star of David on the floor of the Goblin Jew Bank. Wait, now they shot it at a real bank and they had it in there already? Oh, so that was a pre-existing set? It's not the movie set design? Okay, so they used a pre-existing set. I see. Okay, okay, okay. So this is probably just a very funny coincidence. Very funny coincidence? I don't think so. Wait, do you think the director was like, let's look for a bank that has the Star of David on the floor? Do you think just say, oh yeah, this is wait, we're talking British, right? Yeah, this is a great location. Wait, no, that's not British. What am I? You know what? Back to English. English, American English. Yeah, this is a great, you know, location. It's great lighting. We have room for the rigs to move in here. However, I'm looking for a slightly more Semitic floor design. Can we shop around for that? Okay, we're gonna have goblins in here. We want to keep the theming consistent. Okay, stop. All right, good memes. All right, stop. All right, welcome back, Pepe. Acknowledge the Twitch chat raid. Who raided? I see a raid from. Oh, hello, Relevant. Thank you. Sorry, I don't have notifications on for that. I should fix that. I still need to better integrate like Twitch settings. Okay, I see. Yeah, here we go. Here's the bank regular. I still say it's funny. What if they just put menorahs on the bank tables, dude? What if they just went full kilter on it? Just pedal to the metal, just straight ahead, you know? Oh, it's not, it's not funny. It's not funny. It's not funny. Okay? Stop.